Of all the magical texts in the world, none is more dangerous, powerful, or fascinating as the Grand Grimoire. It's the ultimate book of black magic, full of forbidden knowledge. Legend has it that even possessing the Grand Grimoire can invite danger and misfortune. For the uninitiated, the contents are simply too powerful, and misuse of its rituals can have terrible consequences. The book itself is said to be impervious to fire and cannot be burned or destroyed in any way. Legend has it that the Grand Grimoire is concealed in the Vatican's secret archives, kept away from the public because of its diabolical and dangerous content. As some put it, the Grand Grimoire is the most outrageous book that you will ever read, full of warped and dangerous information. If you're interested in reading the Grand Grimoire, you can find a link to it in the description below. So, what really is in this book, and why is everyone so afraid of it? Also known as the Red Dragon, or the Gospel of Satan, the Grand Grimoire was most likely written sometime in the 16th or 17th century in France or somewhere in Europe. The original manuscript was reportedly discovered in Jerusalem, near the Tomb of Solomon, written in Hebrew and Aramaic. Some editions date the book to 1521, 1522, or 1421. This may have been a technique to make the text appear older and therefore more credible, but it might also indicate that the text was copied from an older source. Some believe that the Grand Grimoire was written in the time of the biblical King Solomon, blending Christian, Jewish, and pagan elements, but there is no evidence to support this. This brings us to the question of who authored the Grand Grimoire. Again, no one knows for sure, and this has generated a lot of speculation. There are no definitive records of its author. Some legends suggest that it was written by an anonymous individual who had extensive knowledge of magical practices and occult lore. Others believe it was written by King Solomon or a figure called Antonio Venetiana del Rabina, who may or may not have existed. Again, these are just claims and there's no historical evidence to support them. Unlike any other magical text, the Grand Grimoire is viewed as possibly the most twisted and diabolical books of all time. It is said that the knowledge contained within is so powerful that it has been kept hidden to prevent misuse. The Grand Grimoire may have borrowed much of its source material from the Key of Solomon and the Lesser Key of Solomon, two foundational texts in Western magical and occult practice. It contains many of the same themes, such as summoning and making pacts with demons, necromancy, hexes, curses, and the manipulation of supernatural forces. But it has its own unique approach and style. Like other Solomonic grimoires, the Grand Grimoire begins with a prayer and dedication to God. This is reflective of the Judeo-Christian context in which many of these texts were written, where invoking the divine power was seen as crucial for the safe and effective practice of magic. The practitioner is advised to consecrate the instruments and tools to be used, and to seek God's help in their endeavor. They are to give thanks to God in whose name they call upon the demons, beings that can be used and manipulated to gain the practitioner's desires. The text is divided into two sections. The first part delves into demonology, with instructions on how to summon demons and forge pacts with them, particularly the demon Lucifuge Rofocale, the Prime Minister of Hell who serves directly under Lucifer. There is a detailed ritual for summoning Lucifuge and making a pact with him. He offers riches and worldly powers in exchange for the soul of the practitioner. The practitioner must create a magical circle for protection, use specific incantations, and have the required sacrificial rituals on hand. The second section is further divided into two parts. The Sanctum Regnum contains instructions on how to make pacts with the demon, without the tools required in Book 1, a riskier and more dangerous method for the practitioners. The Secrets section contains instructions on how to create magical talismans and objects. This section focuses on how to attract wealth, luck, and personal items through the use of these magical objects. There are spells such as how to win the lottery, how to make oneself invisible, and how to gain love. Throughout the text, there are malevolent rituals involving animal sacrifices, blood, and bones. For example, there is a ritual which involves sacrificing a young goat. After burning the skinned goat, the practitioner must use the skin of the goat to create the magic circle. Another spell, which details how to become invisible, involves boiling a black cat in a new pot for 24 hours before putting the boiled cat on a new dish, throwing the meat over one's left shoulder, and saying the words "accept my offering" and "don't delay." These kinds of spells are warped and malevolent, which is why the Grand Grimoire is considered one of the most potent and dangerous of all magical texts. Today, some see the Grand Grimoire as a tool for rebellion against oppressive authorities, with its magic seen as a means to overturn the established order. This aspect ties into the broader theme of magic as a form of hidden resistance in folklore. Others see the rituals and symbols in the Grand Grimoire as allegorical, symbolizing the journey of the practitioner from base desires to higher spiritual understanding. And then there are those who follow the instructions of the Grand Grimoire, seeing it as a practical guide to performing rituals and spells. They approach the grimoire with a profound belief in its powers and the unseen forces it describes. So, what's the final consensus? The Grand Grimoire is an important text in understanding ancient esoteric thought and gives us insight into the superstitions of the medieval period. But does it really have the powers it claims to have? While we do know that the grimoire has accumulated a lot of notoriety because of its subject matter, there are many myths surrounding it. Separating fact from fiction can be difficult, and we aren't going to boil a cat for 24 hours to figure out if the spells work. What do you think? Is the Grand Grimoire simply a hyped-up manuscript, or does it contain real power? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, and join our community of like-minded thinkers by subscribing. Thanks for watching.